Hello, so for today, we will be discussing process costing in a multi-department setting. So process costing in a multi-department setting is no different from the one that we've discussed, except that when it comes to the subsequent departments, aside from the materials and the conversion cost, we will also account for the transferred in cost from the previous department. So to illustrate, I have lifted a problem from the Cost Accounting Principles book of Rayborn and Kinney. Uh, Let us read the problem and we will answer it as we go along. Almost Real makes artificial Christmas trees in two departments, cutting and boxing. In the cutting department, wire wrapped with green needles is placed into production at the beginning of the process and is cut to various lengths, depending on the size of the trees being made at that time. The branches are then transferred to the boxing department, where the lengths are separated into necessary groups to make a tree. These are then placed in boxes and immediately sent to finished goods. The following data are available related to the October 2010 production in each of the two departments. So we are given the actual number of units in the cutting and boxing department as well as the percentage of completion. Of course, we also have the cost. So the costs in the cutting department and the boxing department. So the problem requires us to prepare a cost of production report for the cutting department assuming a weighted average method, and also to prepare a cost of production report for the boxing department also using the weighted average method. So as we have discussed, the first step, of course, we will account for the cutting department first. No? So we have the cutting department. So for the cutting department, as we have done in the past, diba, the first thing we do is to compute for the total units to be accounted for. So the total units to be accounted for is the sum of the beginning work in process inventory plus the units that we have started in process. So we have the following. So beginning work in process inventory is equal to 8,000 units. By the way, I am referring to the information that we have in the cutting department. Do not mind the boxing department first. We'll discuss that later on. So the units we have started in process is equal to 36,000 units. So the total units to be accounted for uh, is equal to 44,000 units. So I have explained this to you before. Sabi natin, the total units to, the sum, dalawa lang naman, sorry, dalawa lang naman ang pupuntahan ng total units to be accounted for mo. Either these units will be completed or this units will be unfinished, 'di ba? Siya yung magiging ending work in process inventory natin. So now, since the problem is asking us to use the weighted average method, 'di ba? So we will only classify or we will only classify the units into two. Yung completed units natin, we have the units completed and the units in our ending inventory. So the sum of the two must be equal to the total units to be accounted for. Okay? So the ending inventory is equal to 3,600 units. And since the total units to be accounted for is equal to 44,000, so it means when we deduct the total that ending inventory from the total number of units that we have in process, we have completed 40,400 units. These are the actual units completed. Okay? So, looking at the information given for Department 1, we have two cost components, yung materials natin and also the conversion. Okay? Materials and conversion. So, earlier when we read the problem, sabi diyan, the raw materials, which is yung wire wrapped with green needles, are placed into production at the beginning of the process. Okay, so all the materials in the cutting department, all the materials are added at the start of the process. Okay, so excuse me. Another thing that we have discussed before is that when we are using the weighted average method in accounting for in process costing, 'di ba? You do not have to think about the completed units anymore because it is automatic that the EUP for the completed units is equal to 100%, or rather the work done for the completed units is equal to 100%. So we have an EUP of 40,400 for materials and 40,400 also for conversion cost. Now, let us look at the ending inventory. So, for our ending inventory naman, since materials are added at the start of the process, so the work done on the ending inventory as far as materials is concerned is equal to 3,600 as well. Kasi nga, 3,600 times 100%, we have 3,600. For conversion, we look at the problem again. So, sabi dyan, the ending inventory is already 70% complete as to conversion cost. And if that is the case, you multiply the actual number of units by 0.7 or 70% and we'll get 2,520. So we compute for the sum of our EUP for materials and conversion. So total EUP for materials is 44,000 and for conversion we have 42,920. Okay, so we're done with our EUP computation. So by now, you shouldn't have any problems or difficulty in computing for the EUP computation. This is very important because the cost of production report, diba, will depend on our EUP computation. Okay? So the next step in process costing is to compute for the cost per EUP. So sabi natin, if you look at your notes, 'di ba? If we are using the weighted average EUP kasi to compute for the cost per EUP, what we do is we divide the cost last month, plus cost this month by, we divide this by the EUP, diba? By the EUP that we have computed. So, for a while, using natin. Okay? We will divide this by the EUP that we have computed. Okay? So, okay. This one. Okay. Yawn. Sige. So, syempre, we have to compute first for our cost per EUP for materials. So, our cost last month, diba? So, sige, yung last month natin, and then this month's cost. So, yung cost we will look at this one, no? So, yung beginning work in cost last month for materials is 293,000. And then, yung cost natin this month for the current period is equal to 1,379. 1,379,000. And then, for conversion, we have the following. So, last month is 80,000. And then, 1,293,440. So, I am looking at this portion, okay, kung nasaan yung mga cost natin. Oh, by the way, yung total cost to be accounted for will be computed later on, of course. So, yung total natin, total cost for materials, we have 293,000 plus 1,379,000, 1,672,000 for materials, and for conversion, we have 1,373,440. So, yung EUP natin, kunin natin dito para makita ninyo. For materials, we have 44,000, and for conversion cost, we have 42,920. So, cost per EUP, using the formula here, syempre, our cost per EUP will be equal to 38 for materials, and for conversion naman, we have 32. 38 and 32 respectively. Okay? So, what we'll do now is we will compute for the total cost to be accounted for. That is this is the third step actually. This is the third step. So the total cost to be accounted for is just the sum of the current month's and last month's cost. So what we can do here is simply add the total of the materials and conversion cost last month and this month. So the total cost to be accounted for is at 3,045,440. So we go back to our EUP computation, ano? So we have classified the units into two. The completed units, and the units in our ending inventory. Okay? So we account first, or we compute first for the cost of the completed units. So of course, for the completed units, we have, syempre, the materials cost first. So, for materials kasi, ayusin natin to. Materials, and then we also have conversion. Okay? So, for materials, our EUP for, of course, to compute for the cost assignment, kasi what we do is we get the EUP and multiply it by the cost per EUP. So, the EUP for materials is 40,400, and then the EUP for conversion is also 40,400. Now, the cost per EUP, as we have computed earlier, for materials is 38,000. And for conversion naman, this is equal to 32,000. 32 pesos, sorry, per unit pala to. So, multiply the EUP by the cost per EUP. The material cost assigned to the completed units is at 1,535,200, and the conversion cost assigned to the completed units is equal to 1,292,800. Right? So, I just transfer this here. Sorry. Okay, sorry. So, lipat ko lang to dito. Yeah. So, we compute for the sum, total cost of the completed units. We have 2,828,000. 2,828,000. Ayaw. Anyway. Sige. So, next, we also have to account for the cost of our ending inventory. So, for the ending inventory, of course, we have the materials and conversion cost. So, the EUP for materials is 3,600, and for conversion, it is 2,520. So, of course, the cost is the same. Pareho lang naman yan. Sorry. Iba. Okay, sige. Wait. So, yung cost per EUP natin is 38 and 32 respectively. So, if we multiply the EUP by the cost per EUP, we'll get 136,800 for materials and 80,640 for conversion. So, get the sum of the two, we'll get 217,440. And of course, pag tinotal natin yung cost of the completed units and the ending inventory, it should be equal to the total cost to be accounted for. 3,045,440. Okay? So, this is our computation. This is the cost of production report for the cutting department. Oh, by the way, before I forget, since there is a subsequent department nga, kasi nga multi-department na nga tayo, the completed units are not called, we will change the term, diba? We will not use completed units anymore, but transferred out. Okay? Transferred out units. Kasi, these units will go to the next department, which is the boxing department. Okay? So, yun.